Good afternoon, people. Good afternoon, friends. We are here like every Monday at 3 o'clock or so to talk about our healing journey. And we are walking each other home through safety. And if you have we'd love for you to join us. We have a chat available, or you can put your face up. And we remind you to have a way to calm yourself if you need it. We all drink water when we're triggered, right? Priscilla uses these activities, fidget activities, and Holly sometimes does some
Oh, the
tapping.
tapping. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Get those acupressure points and
right,
just calm it down, calm it down. Yeah.
right. So keep your self-regulation skills at hand, and we're going to talk about Bad Bunny again this week.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay. And thank you so much, Denise, for giving us the lead in. Priscilla, how would you like to welcome everybody?
Okay, I'm Priscilla. I'm the founder of Family Consulting and Coaching. I specialize in early childhood and adversity. I don't no longer call it trauma. I'm starting to call it
Hmm.
adversity. It connects people more.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, I'm welcome everybody, and I'm glad you guys are here. And just so you know that this is important for us because we know what it is to be there. So, yeah.
So powerful. Let's just, before we get into Bad Bunny and the change that he has made and how people are responding, which is predictable in some ways, and yeah, what we can learn from this as survivors. I want to ask Priscilla to say a little bit more about changing from trauma to adversity. What was
Yeah.
tell us about your reason for that?
I find that, especially in the Latino culture, the word trauma is starting to turn off people's switch on the way their brain responds to different approaches or perceptions. So I realized that, and maybe I should have done a study, or maybe I need to read some research on
I
this.
think you're
But
right, Priscilla. I think people are, it's overused now.
yes, one, it's overused. It's very overused. A lot of people speak about trauma like it's eating a candy. They know it's a niche, it's really needed. But I'm noticing that when I speak about adversity, people connect more. It's like when I say
Hmm.
trauma, they're like, no, we don't, that doesn't, and yes, or they'll say like yes, but never identify it with them. But when I say, we're going through so much adversity these times, and people have gone through adversity, they seem to be more in tune. Like I don't lose them. Have
Yeah, I'm
you
with you
know?
on that. I think that the word trauma has, been overused, and I think it does put people off. And I think we are so filled up with this trauma of these Epstein survivors and whatnot that, I'm sick to my stomach half the time now.
Yes. So another thing that another word that I use to be able to help people feel connected and that I'm interested, or at least that I validate what they're going through, it's lived experience. Acknowledging that we are living some weird times, right? We are experiencing the collective emotions.
And it
So
is
even
trauma. It is
even
trauma.
exactly,
But
even in
it's
that
so much
space.
trauma that we can't
Yes.
work with it. It's like too big now, the
Yes.
trauma.
Yes. And I want to say, and I don't know if Harley has something else to ask me, but I'm kind of excited a bit to talk about the Epstein file and Bad Bunny and how they both connect. And especially in the Latino culture, who I was so bashed, even on my own family, and all these, it was very interesting because one of the conversations that I found myself having when I had time, because I don't like to go back and forth. It was more like educative. It was more like the religion, right? Religions, and in Christians, made it their business to share, in these days, thanks to I believe that also in theological school, in books, and in different spaces, there are things that no matter what we utilize, maybe we can perceive that this was a rock once, and that I'm utilizing as a rock symbol in whatever situation I may be in. But that was never intention to be, when I brought it or utilized it, it was never an intention. What I'm trying to say with that is that they created videos of demonics or rituals and all these things, and they put it Bad Bunny on his early beginnings, and the way he looked and the way he presented himself, the way he started opening up. um they utilized it, including one of the things that were hilarious to me is that they put the light poles in the Super Bowl, like
Yeah.
there were the crosses.
Right.
um and now here we are, right? Like a lot of people have said, oh, you're promoting him, you're doing this. And I had to remind people, I never promoted Bad Bunny or his music. I promoted the culture. I promoted what he brought back, right? Now, I was curious in this new administration and the way that things are working. I was very curious, what now? What are we promoting? What are we applauding? How does one thing and the other thing, it's like, are we being hypocrites now? Is everybody quiet now?
Also being hypocrites, hon. What would be indicate that?
So, right, like when you see our president or leadership, when you see high people in leadership and that are
Mm-hmm.
also running in presidency here, with young girls, or
Mm-hmm.
even verbalizing, saying, oh, they look pretty young and they look very good and I could make her this, like that type of language. Even when you think about it right now and seeing his wife and all that, and seeing how they manage themselves, you're basically saying that pedophiling is, if I said it right, it's okay.
He said he'd date his own daughter.
If she wasn't his daughter, he would date her. Right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like when you see this, when you see the children's that this guy could have had, the women who he dated, and the people that he connected with and was in connection with, right? People that actually went there and supported this. And there's pictures that are not AI. There's documents speaking about it. Um,
Other countries have the full release. They don't have redacted release. And now they're releasing it to us, which I don't want any more releases. I'm sick of hearing the gross, obnoxious things that wealthy men just took because they thought they deserved it. I'm tired of it. I want them to start paying the price. Somebody needs to hang on the cross.
yes. And I'm sorry, on the other hand, I'm like, I want to see them, because what's going to happen is the revelation of this is going to help us understand the type of leadership we under, and why advocacy needs to continue happening in so many areas.
It's so much worse. It's so much worse than we can even imagine. I mean, what happened to me, that was bad. It was so much worse what happened to these children. Some children were just taken away and now you belong to us.
Yeah. And I think that even thinking about domestic violence, and when happened, this situation that happened with Puff Daddy and R. Kelly for many years, shows why women are afraid of speaking up.
Right.
It
Why we want to
shows.
be alone in the woods with a bear instead of a man.
Exactly. Right. And I think that this is what many of us, and it's not my particular niche. My niche is more early childhood and adversity, but I can see how they can correlate, right? And I can see how this can affect, because as a mother, I grew up not allowing my daughters sit in nobody's lap. I remember my daughters were not able to wear shorts. The shorts needed to be, I needed to put my fist in their leg. And if the shorts were above that, they were not allowed. And I will always teach them. And now they are older and they will tell me, "Mom, they try to be promiscuous sometimes and put some sexy clothes, which now they're older and they could protect themselves. But the fact that they can see how men look at them, they could know the difference."
Right. But this is the thing. We should be able to adorn our bodies any friggin' way we want to. If we want to wear sequins on our boobies or whatever, children are children. No matter what they wear, there's children. I ran around when I was a kid without a shirt until I was like 12 years old. I had no boobs. I played football with the guys. When I played on the island football with the guys, I wanted to be on the shirts team so I could leave my shirt on instead of the not shirts or whatever. But the point is, children are not for sex.
They're
That's
not. You're right. One of the things when I started studying psychology, one of the things that I studied was the brain of a pedophile, because that was the only person that I felt as a therapist, as an adverse experience and lived experience therapist that have gone through stuff. I never felt like I would be able to sit in front of a pedophile. And it was interesting that the next assignment was study a pedophile.
And what did you find out, Priscilla? Tell us about the brain of a pedophile.
Yes, and this is why I think it's important that while we validate that children are not for to be touched, we have to be mindful how we help our children understand how to make sure that their body is respected and how to protect their bodies. And because you're right, Denise, everybody should wear and be whoever they want, but because children are not able to consent or nor know have no malicious, their brains are innocent, they don't know how to protect themselves. And a pedophile, it's in, again, I didn't refresh, I didn't thought this was going to be what we are going to be speaking, but there's a, I want to say like one of their neurons, it's not sparking and it's very like it's not there. So sometimes they can act without even noticing. And when they know that they did it, is that this is why they say, don't say nothing, because they get scared. And part of what I learned also is that there's people who have committed these acts and they are able with therapy. They also say a pedophile has to have therapy for the rest of their life, because that urge of wanting a little kid, and it's because there's something that goes
power,
beyond them.
power over. They, they're not, it's not a romantic experience. It's a power over. And it is much easier to have power over somebody this big than it is to have power over a peer, especially women nowadays. We're not sitting back going, what do you want to do? Or, we're not letting men take whatever they want as much as they used to. But
So
that,
it's really, I hear you, girl. Both of you are really, really speaking powerfully, and I appreciate it. I'm thinking that control, absolute control, is another way of talking about what you're saying, Denise, power over.
right,
And I like that people are now calling it the Trump files or the Trump Epstein files rather than focusing on Epstein, because I think that's right. And the horrific things that are coming out that are not even like, well, I'll tell you one of the things that absolutely grossed me out, and it came out a week ago. And I don't think anybody's talking about it. And I do want to get back to whether adversity or trauma, whichever one of those, we need to talk about that. But I want to say that one of the things that came out a week ago was absolutely disgusting to me, and it was Trump, right? Trump had, he was doing those beauty pageants where he was in charge, and he just bragged about it. He could walk in, look at them nude. That was something he felt he could do. It's just like when he said, and I just was protesting this weekend, and I put my pussy hat on, from all that saying that the man said, when you've got power, you can do anything you want. Move in on them, grab their pussy. That's what he said. Disgusting. So I keep wearing that hat. One of the things he did, and tell me if you read about this too, he was measuring. Imagine being a little girl. I can, because I'm an incest survivor, measuring the tightness of a child's vagina, measuring it, seeing which ones of these children had the tightest vagina, because that would be, of course, the most luscious, the most attractive to these allegedly adult, well, aged men who felt it was their right
To
to
take
take
whatever
advantage.
they want. They
And when
take whatever they want.
Right. And this is
Yes.
innocence. Denise, you and I talked a lot about innocence. This is innocence. And to touch a girl's private part, if he could just grab a woman by the privates, which he did, and he said it's okay, and he was joking about that, right? And he still got elected, then what's to say
Mhm.
he didn't? Did you guys read about this where he is measuring how tight the girls' vaginas are? I
I
mean,
haven't
imagine.
read that, but
Yeah.
I believe it. I mean,
Yeah.
that was a common language when we were younger. You got how tight your vagina is or whatever.
Mhm. And
Oh,
I
I
want
didn't
to
know that.
share. I want to say that part of what it is, it's a pattern, right? And I think
Mhm.
that more awareness about pedophile behaviors need to be discussed so
Mhm.
people can understand, because a lot of times before they commit the act, they have already committed it a lot of times in their brain, right?
Mhm.
And then what happens is an impulsive behavior that they feel that they it's like an urge that they just can't seem. And yes, I'm not saying it's right, but it is a mental conditions, and it's a pattern, and the pattern continue because they're not getting help, they're not speaking about it, they're not speaking about these feelings that they're getting when they see it. What happens, it comes to a space where then they feel comfortable that they could probably do it, and then they commit the act, and here it comes the manipulation, and they don't realize. And I think more awareness needs to be discussed about it, because if more awareness is spoken more about it, we will be able to protect our children more. I, as a mother, believe, as a teacher, as a woman, because right, women also commit these acts.
Mhm.
I
Well,
believe.
what was her name? Ghislaine? The Ghislaine, whoever that lady is that's in the prison that's really like a resort now. She was convicted of sex trafficking children, and she was even worse in some cases than Epstein was in terms of what she did to children.
Yes, I
And
just.
yet,
There's
yeah,
several women in the files, several.
Yeah, and
But,
I'm
truly.
pretty sure.
but
I'm pretty.
mostly it's men who take advantage of girls. Not, I mean, there's a few women, but mostly it's men.
I'm curious if at one point, and even this will open up a research and do some
Hmm.
surveys, because I believe that there are more women that what people have shared as well. The thing is that because the woman doesn't really introduce, it's usually the woman asking the kids to put lotion in their body or to help them clean themselves just like they help
Hmm.
them clean themselves. It may look, actually there is there's an approach called theraplay, and I remember going to the first to get certified, and one of the things that was there is putting lotion on one another. And a lot of the clinicians, they were like, I don't feel comfortable. And while into this day, I don't think it's like I do explain like doing role play in hands. We put lotion in our hands. We could give a massage, right? We put lotion or facial. But there's certain body areas that lotion doesn't go to. And I think that we have to be very careful on how we utilize certain language, and we need to be very mindful. And I believe that there's not a lot of education about these aspects, and there's not a lot of education in none of the cultures because we are very comfortable. I've seen kids 3 years old twerking, and in my head, I think about what I study about what happens in a pedophile mind.
Okay, so I need to read more about the psychology and the brain of a pedophile. I need to do that. What I've done is studied the brain and the compulsion of narcissists. And I want to see if there's a crossover in terms of the way their brains work. What troubles me greatly is the lack of conscience. No, a narcissist doesn't ever take responsibility. And so when I see Trump talking, he's clearly a narcissist. And so he's not going to, when has he ever been able to say, well, that was my responsibility, that was my fault? It's not in his language. It's not in his brain. He can't see it. Everybody else is screwing him or screwing America, and it's time that he sets things right. But I really wonder what it is in the brain of a pedophile. My father might have been he was a pedophile and a narcissist. So what was it that drove him? Was it the pedophilia or was it the narcissism? And here's something else, the generational trauma of men passing down to their sons. This is your right. I have a friend who, my family's from an island, and her family was from an island. This was in the Mediterranean, not the Caribbean. But she said to me, Holly, Elisa, didn't you know? And I didn't. That men that raise families on islands, this is her point, feel like they've got the right. They are somehow sovereign on this island to do whatever they want. So it's their right to initiate their daughters. And that's what it felt like with my father. It was his right. He had no question at all about this was his right to do it. So I think
if it was culturally acceptable, if it was done in a loving and nurturing way, that might be okay. It might
even then.
I know, but I'm just saying it's what in under certain circumstances where it's not secret, it's not power over, it's loving and nurturing, it might be okay. But in our culture, it's not. It's not okay.
And there is a culture that, if I'm not mistaken, like let's pause for a minute. Culture, it's us. Right now we're creating a healing culture, right? And it's built based on research, lived experience, and evidence-based, right? There are, like, going back, like it's in the Latino culture is the machista, right? And in the machista, that gives them to the entitlement. So whoever creates a culture where a person who is not truly developed to take their innocence away, it's not okay. It can't be okay. And we cannot
no, not if you're taking something away. You're not. It's horrible.
So here's the phrase in the law, which makes real sense to me. I remember being a second-year law student, and when I read this term, I said, oh my God, that's it. The word is unconscionable. And what does that mean? It means just what you guys are talking about. When somebody who has power abuses that power and takes advantage of the person that doesn't have as much power, and the person who has power over the person who's got the entitlement literally feels like he's not doing anything wrong. This is my right. And doesn't it feel that way as we read about the Trump Epstein files, that people are saying, oh, this is my right. What's the problem? You grab them, but you got the power. You can do anything you want. That is disgusting to me. What I want to say about trauma versus adversity is let's think about that because this program is, I think I see a dog tail. Hello, dog tail.
Yeah, she's
It's always so good to see her. The thing is, for me, one of my reasons for using trauma is that I need to name the truth of what happened with me. That's why I use incest. I am an incest survivor, and people turn white. They go, "What she's saying?" When I use the word incest, it's like this room goes silent. We can talk about trauma, but the minute I say incest, that will shut a room down. Okay?
When I say I was molested 4 times by 4 different men in my neighborhood before my stepfather started molesting me incestuously for years. What do you think people think
Yeah.
about that?
Oh my
and
God.
and
And where was your
most
mother? Where were the protectors? My mother
I
was unable, just totally unable and just submitted.
right.
most people that create these type of acts are people within our family members, people
Or
close,
neighbors. Right.
right,
No,
close by neighbors. I don't know if there is a connection between a narcissistic and a pedophile, but I believe that there could be both. Because, and I'm curious what you get to find, Holly, because I no longer see a pedophile as, I see them as people who have experienced some sort of adversity or underdeveloped brain. Um, and I really ask God to protect my heart and the way I think about them, because I believe that they are, see, like when it came to the Epstein style, one of the things that I think is that Epstein was one of the most is one of the most narcissistic, manipulative creatures that could have existed, because what he did is basically, I believe he threw um oh God, something to catch them like fishes. And once he had them,
big.
he
Mhm.
will make sure he would take pictures and make sure that the people knew that they were there to manipulate them. I believe that a lot
Epstein's
of
not the
times,
first one. He's not the
Epstein, what,
first
sweetie?
one. He just came in and took over another guy's business or whatever. This has been going on far long before Epstein got in that
Thing that
position.
was really powerful, my friends, was when I, as an attorney, watched Pam Bondi. That made me sick to my stomach. I wanted to, I'm not a violent person, but I've wanted to just like shake her, stop her from being so, oh my God, mean girl, cruel girl. But when she said, I just blocked what I'm saying because it was too painful to think about. When
She
she
said
essentially
about the money.
she said two things that really struck me. One was she said, we can't expose all of this because the whole system will be wiped out. Well,
Right
honey,
on, wipe it
what do you think
out.
has to happen? Let's wipe out the whole system. I'm going, yes, right on. And then the other thing that really disgusted me about money was when she said, why are you being hard on poor Donald Trump when we've got this economy that
Right,
allegedly
he's
is doing
got the
well?
Dow up to millions or whatever.
Oh,
Who
God
cares?
Almighty. So look at that. That's like comparing robbing someone of her innocence, robbing someone. I mean, Virginia Giuffre lost her life. This disease kills. The disease of being a survivor can
Many
kill.
lost their lives. I mean, I had to really fight to make a life for myself.
Yeah,
My sister
agreed.
does not have a life. I
many
mean,
Hmm.
many people, right? Because, right, they take your innocence, and on top of that, I believe that people, and I want to say that the act of somebody committing this act to you can be as damaging as being physically abused by beating or being
Yeah.
be and right. And I want to say that because I still consider myself, even though I have not experienced that, I want to acknowledge that we grow in survival mode when the people who take supposed to take care of us hurt us
Hmm.
by
right.
taking our voice, by expecting that we need to. Right now, me and my father are back again in square zero. And I just learned my sister has cancer, my younger
Oh no,
sister.
this ah.
Yeah, so it's like, when and I'm like, okay, like I finally let tell God, like, okay, is this now what needs to happen? Like, I'm curious what and the whole time I'm telling my mom, you're dealing with a narcissistic person. You need to make sure that you create some firm boundaries for your mental health. When they say, are you going to Puerto Rico to help your mom? I said, I can't help her. I'm managing my sister, and my father's going to utilize this situation.
Is your sister with cancer living there?
In Puerto Rico.
Oh my
Yes.
God, living with your mother?
Yes. So that's
What
my
kind
younger sister.
what kind of cancer, unless it's too personal to say?
It's kidney. It's a kidney.
Jeez, I'm crow.
Yes. So she's going out testing to probably be going, and they saying that she's healthy enough to go through chemo, but she's not healthy enough. She would not be able to handle chemo. So she has to have surgery. And one of the things that I am preparing myself is how to support my mom through this, but also I don't think so. But also how to she takes water from the fountain.
Oh my
But
God. Okay.
also being mindful that God has a purpose in life, right? My sister is 40 years old, 41 years old. She has lived a wonderful life, and God knows the reason why we have to. But at the end of the day, I'm thinking between my sister in Puerto Rico and my sister here, it's the quality of life my sister has had throughout these years. And not allowing this man to continue feeling that he can come and utilize situations to continue harming and bombarding. And I'm also wondering, is this also a moment for him to have an opportunity for a realistic check and allow himself to heal? And I'm here trying to, I'm monitoring the energy.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm
also,
I'm listening, sweetie, I'm sure I'm not the only one who's thinking of the adverse childhood experiences measurements. And all three of us came from really rough backgrounds when it came to women being disrespected and our bodies being disrespected. It's no accident that with my two siblings and my eldest sister got a horrible, devastating, terminal autoimmune disease. And I think of her with her PhD in consumer economics, her JD degree. None of that stuff stopped anything. Her body was set up to be in denial. She was in denial. My father was a god to her. She never saw him in anything but as a god. And she got this horrible autoimmune disease. And because of the family ethic, we don't complain. We don't complain. We just tough everything out. We take care of everything ourselves. She lived much longer than the average person lives with the kind of MS she had. I remember saying to her, sweetie, you don't need to stay alive unless it's right for you. If you want to stay alive, support you 100%, but you don't have to. Here's what she was doing. She was fighting to be the person that could live the longest with the disease, because that's the kind of thing we would do. It would give us power. And that's what she lived for like 24 years with this disease that kills people in like 5, 10, 15 years. So that's how she was affected by the adverse childhood experiences. My other sister became a psychiatrist, but I just had an experience with her. I haven't shared this yet, but a friend of mine is doing the study and she asked me to do ancestry.com. And I said, of course, I'll do that. I had already done 23andMe. As I was getting the results, I found out things about my relatives, my immigrant relatives. And I said to my sister, you know what? I didn't know that our great grandmother came over from Hamburg, Germany. And here was the dynamic. My sister immediately said, oh, well, that means she was from Bavaria. Now, Hamburg is not in Bavaria. Hamburg is way up in the north of Germany, and Bavaria is down in the south of Germany. Well, I knew that. But I had already said that our relatives left Germany through this northern city. And she said, no, 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 that was, anyway, she was absolutely certain that she was right. And here's what the interesting thing that happened in me. My family was so authoritarian and so controlling that the first trait of trauma survivors is we became afraid of authority figures and lost our identity in the process. So my father was an authority figure. My sister was an authority figure. And I experienced this moment when she said to me, no, they're from Bavaria. And I felt all those feelings of being judged. I knew I was right, but I don't care about being right. I just don't like being judged. I just don't like being told I'm wrong. And I thought, boy, this is so quick. I haven't spoken. I reached out to my sister. I haven't heard from her for months. She didn't acknowledge my 80th birthday. She didn't, none of that stuff. But I decided, what the hey, I'll reach out to her and send her this information. And the first response she did was, you're wrong. And that brought back memories of this is what my family does to people, to control people. If you've got a vulnerability, I was the youngest, you're wrong, and we're going to tell you you're wrong, and we're going to control the way you think, and we're going to tell you, even if you know something's right, but your brain is not working right.
Yeah,
I don't know
and
that. I got that. Your brain is not working right, girl. There's something wrong with you. So here's what happened immediately. Wasn't immediate, but I said, hey, I didn't have to prove I was right. I knew I was right. And what she came back with later was, oh, I made a mistake. So I said, okay, happens. I mean, I just was over it. I didn't take it personally like I would have as a kid. I said, so let's continue the conversation. What about some of the other questions I'm asking? I have not heard from her. I have not heard from her. She was either having, back to your point, Denise, she either had to have power over me and be superior and tell me I was wrong, even if I was right. And that was part of what they did to our brains. This is the thing that really pisses me off and why I'm using trauma, because the trauma to my brain when I was told you're crazy, you're the one that's getting it wrong. You don't know what you're talking about. It's like what's going on in Minneapolis now is people are saying, I see what happened with my own eyes. People are saying that. I saw what happened. I felt what happened with my father with my own body. You can tell me nothing happened. He could tell me you didn't see that, daughter, but it happened. And part of my sanity, because I felt like my sanity was at issue because I had a whole different reality than they had.
Right. And your mom had mental health issues, and you probably thought that can happen to me too.
Right,
I probably got it too.
Right. I thought that maybe they're right. Maybe I'm the crazy one. But the reason I use trauma is because the adversity was so intense and horrific in my family. The incest, the beatings, the spiritual abuse, the psychological abuse. It was so intense that I was so traumatized. And at the same time, I was taught I was from the perfect family. So I'm a spokesperson for people that were taught, there's nothing wrong. You're okay. What's your problem, girl? And suck it up. I'm here to say I am a trauma survivor because for me, that's the freedom. That's the liberation. Was it adversity? You bet. But was it traumatizing, honey? Anytime any little girl gets raped by her father, as I was, that's deep trauma. I haven't read Virginia Giuffre's book. Has anybody read that? So Bad Bunny read that, right? Bad Bunny is saying we got to read it. This man's reading it before I did. I've got to read it now. I just finished this big
what
piece.
is it?
Bad Bunny mentioned that we have to read Virginia Giuffre's book. What is the name of it? The Lost, whatever it is. And somebody else, what's her name? Taylor Swift just sang a song about Virginia Giuffre, and it went off the charts And came out on Valentine's Day, and it's a heartbreaker, apparently. I have not heard it, but it's a heartbreaker about how this woman's life was destroyed by these men. So here's the bottom line, my friends. Women's lives, we're women. Our lives could be destroyed, ended. People end up in insane asylums. That's where I thought I might be going because what? My father's like mayor of my hometown. My mother's like a beautiful woman. What's wrong with me that I can't? What's wrong with me? And yet, I was just talking with people about this. I got disowned by my family. That's what it took for me to be able to be sane. So, yes, I was severely traumatized. I will keep using that because adversity, sure, it was adversity, but I went through adversity in law school. I went through adversity, in other ways. But, honey, when somebody tries to tell you you're crazy, and they tell you you're crazy, when someone rapes a child, and I was a child, and someone does this over and over again, that is trauma. And I hear you. Sick of it. I understand, but I think somebody's got to keep saying until the system changes, this is what is.
It
This
is
is
trauma.
Yes, and I
It
think
is.
and I think we also have a responsibility to talk about it in a way of like even like I just wrote it down because it is an area that I think is important, especially because I work with early childhood in different cultures and
Mhm.
educating them because when we look across the board and you look at history, like Denise said, it's all power over. It's all has some sort of entitlement. And in certain culture, this has been the norm. In certain culture, it's okay for women to be for men to beat on their women. It's okay for women to be submissive. Actually, it's encouraged, right? And I one of the things that happen is that when we experience adversity, no matter what age, it does big things to our brain. And even though that studies are starting to show that through neuroplasticity, we can somewhat heal, I believe that
Mhm.
it's just we learn different ways to cope, to survive, to make to become resilient. We become
So
resilient by learning ways to navigate and not allow that to keep holding us back.
I hear you.
Um,
I became sane by telling the truth. And I want to say, and you guys have probably read The Body Keeps the Score, that seminal book by Dr. Bessel van der Kolk in Boston. And he said, I just was so angry when I read this. He said that for years, psychiatrists and psychologists, males, felt it was totally appropriate for them to sleep with their female patients because it was curative. No, there is no way. This is the unconscionability in the law. If someone takes advantage of someone that doesn't have as much power and messes with their brain, that's what I hate, messes with their brain so that these people, Virginia Giuffre killed herself. She told the truth and it was still too much. She killed herself. It is never acceptable. Those psychologists that could sleep with their patients, come on. They're in an intimate relationship that is a trusting relationship, and they're breaking the trust by sleeping with this person. When is that ever right? And you were saying before, and I heard you that maybe in some cases, if the parent is gentle or if the parent is,
No,
and
no.
that,
If it was a culturally accepted practice on an
so in my
island,
father's, I
whatever.
hear you, girl. My father's Sicilian practice was it was okay, apparently, for a father
Right.
to
Which it's not. It's
rape
not.
his daughters. But you know what? It's wrecked my family. I've got cousins that are doing this with their daughters. I have one cousin that called her father a monster. She got it. Cannot take advantage of a woman's body or a girl's body without so traumatizing that woman that it's going to affect her and she's going to need to get help the rest of her life. And with Virginia Giuffre, it couldn't save her. She committed suicide.
yeah, and there's women out there that because of these lived experience, they are now being exploited. They are
Yes.
now utilizing substance abuse because they have learned how to be in pain. Pain, it's their love language. And studies has also revealed that when a person who have experienced negative situation in their life, they tend to continue a pattern because they are vulnerable and because they
Mm-hmm.
know what it is. Right now, us, because we know what it is to be here, we come on this space to talk about it,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we healed through this, but and we're hoping that other people are able, because we know what it is, the power there is when we become authentic, when we share what
Mm-hmm.
we've gone through, and for people to say, wait, they went through that, wait,
Name the
they're
truth. To
talking
name the
about
truth.
it.
Tell it, sister, because you know what, Denise and I, when it was just Denise and me back in the day, and I'm delighted you're with us, but we used to talk about how we repeated the pattern that we were taught. The people that we were in relationships with, they knew that they were in power. I mean, I can't, it was just horrible that what I knew was to repeat what I was imprinted on like a duck to do,
Right.
which was to take my father, the
Submit.
narcissist, right, that he had a right to do it. And my whole job as a child was to help my father feel better about himself and to save my mother from going insane. And when I got into relationships, what did I do? I married a narcissist just like my father. And that's what you're talking about, Priscilla. We repeat the same patterns unless what? And this is the biggie. Unless I said to myself, I am not living this way anymore. I went cold turkey. I stopped being in relationships because I realized when I was in relationships with men, when I was married, I was exquisite at helping them feel good about themselves. And in a sad, pathetic way, I felt in control. And why did I need to feel in control? Because that little girl that was raped by her father, the only way she could have any safety at all was to feel like she had some control. I chose to face the agony through therapy, through hard work. I faced the agony of saying, Holly, Elisa, your brain has been put in a pattern. Like you said, Priscilla, my brain was in a pattern of this is all I can do. It's not all I can do. And Denise, you were in a tough relationship. I don't want to out you, but you were in a tough relationship too. And you said after a while, I'm not
I
doing
got
this.
fem rage when I had, but I was in that relationship for 15 years, before I got fem rage.
Yeah.
15 years. Right.
And
Married with 2 kids.
And same here. Like I remember that I did not make the best decisions when this is how I ended up having 5 kids, 4 different relationship. And it was not until my third relationship that I realized. So not into my second relationship, I realized that I
Mhm.
needed to break some patterns. But then on my third relationship, I realized that even though it was better, but I realized that there was an alcoholism issue there, and that the alcoholism was putting me in a different situation. And then I ended up having who's today my husband. And we both have our own story, but
Mhm.
the fact that we are authentic and we can share it, and we know when it's time to take space, and we're able to respect what triggers are, has made us a better relationship. And the more we speak about this, it is like I am feeling triggered, big
Mm.
triggers, about what can I do in my space to talk about breaking the silence, breaking
Mhm.
generational belief of authoritarians. How do we protect not not just the innocence of the child's body, but the innocence of children's. Our children's are being exposed to a lot of adversities, system adversity,
Mhm.
community violence, witnessing domestic violence. They're being exposed to slang
Going to a
language.
school that only serves 1/3 of the population.
Their friends are not going to school. There's
That's
numbers of children's not going to school because of what they're experiencing through
Epstein,
ICE, right?
or no,
Racism,
right,
poverty.
immigration, right.
So
I was just
how
in a
do
group
we,
where there were people from the Americas, Spanish speaking people from the Americas, and I was talking right out there about the truth about what's going on. And I was praising Bad Bunny. I am really glad he said the things he did and raised the things he did. And we took a break. And these women from Brazil called me over and said, "Thank you. Thank you for not backing down. Thank you for telling the truth. We live this every day." I said, "Oh my God, do you feel safe?" No, no. They've got a lot of family around, but that makes it worse in some ways
Right.
because they're
Get
known.
all of them. Right.
Just, and these are like people that teach preschool. They're doing God's work. If God's work is helping children become who they're meant to be and not get sick from all the stuff that happens to them, broke my heart. But I want to say back to the thing about trauma, they called me over
I'm
to
gonna
say,
move.
Abby won't give me grapes.
"Hi,
Sorry.
sweetie.
You want to say
Is that
hi?
your little guy? Hi, sweetheart.
Hi.
Hey, how you doing?
Estoy en una reunión, hijo de toalla.
I heard you got the best Christmas present. Did you get the best Christmas present from your parent?"
I got a PS5.
Yes.
Woohoo!
That, honey, was that exciting?
Yep, I even got new games.
Wow.
Okay, can I get some space now?
Okay, see you, sweetie.
Déjalo. Sorry, Daddy. Okay, thank you.
Okay, we
Sorry.
no problem. I love him. We got about 9 minutes left, but we're talking about the heavy duty stuff here, guys. We need to talk about it.
We are, and it's, killing me because every day everywhere I look, it's heavy duty stuff.
Yeah, I
Always
said
do.
last week, I think, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, like at nighttime I'm up, and as soon as the morning comes, I get sleepy. I don't want to get up. Like yesterday, I had a meltdown because I gained 25 or 30 pounds and none of my
Mm.
clothes fitted me.
Oh, that's no
And
fun.
I was, but what, let me say, and I was like, you know what, Priscilla, you've been rocking it. You've managing. If food is your comfort zone, we need to watch out, girlfriend. Right? The little girl was telling me, but don't be hard on yourself.
Yes,
You're,
please.
you know,
Right.
like
I've put on
you're
weight also, but we have to have pleasure and, a little bit of
Comfort.
comfort. And
Hmm.
it's
chocolate's been my best friend. So that's
Self-medication. We were all allowed, weren't, I mean,
chocolate,
when you
chocolate, mate,
chocolate,
mate.
honey. Weren't we as children, isn't that one of the ways we survived? I used to sneak downstairs when I was sure my father was not going to get me. I would sneak downstairs. My mother had Toll House chocolate chips, bittersweet chocolate chips. I would go downstairs and I would eat those because they were the one thing I could give myself. They soothed me. And my mother would, and it was fascinating, the whole horribleness of the lies, because that was something I was doing to self-medicate. And I noticed with the stuff going on today, I have now chocolate chips and I mix them with healthy nuts and stuff like that. But I
Right.
can see it. I can see myself as a little girl in the darkness of the kitchen, reaching up on my tippy toes to get those chocolate chips. And my mother saying the next day, "I don't have enough chocolate chips. I didn't, and I was not ever going to say, "I did it, Mom." No, no, no. I was protecting my supply. I was going to protect, I was a drug
gratefully,
addict.
gratefully I had three other siblings that when I sneak food, when I did that, I also was able to stay quiet. But yes, food is comforting,
It
especially
is.
when, and what
And
I
it's
find,
necessary.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
and what I find interesting, and it's something that I'm learning myself now, it's that identifying, right? One of the things that I think as a trauma survivor and a person with lived experience who is now paying attention to things, the changes that I'm going through, acknowledging what I've gone through, is it's in the quiet moments that trauma survivors feeling like they want that they have the urge, because we're so throughout the whole day, our amygdala, it's in
Yes.
alert. So when
Right.
it's regulated, it's like you and me right now. It's just us. And you get to, it's the only time that I was saying this to my husband yesterday. It's like the
Mm.
only time that the Rice Krispie tastes super good. Like I could go the whole day without eating candy. But at nighttime, I'm like a little
What is it
mice.
about the nighttime? Is there something else going on with the brain? I mean, we are hypervigilant much of our time, right?
Right.
Hypervigilant. And we're responsible. We are once again the hero children that are responsible. We're taking care of ourselves. We're taking care of our families. We have neurodiverse people that we're looking out for. I too find myself much more susceptible in the evening. And I was just thinking about this story of being a little kid walking down the stairs when I'm sure my father was not going to get me, walking down the stairs and eating those chocolates and feeling like a piece of heaven.
I went through a period where I would get up in the middle of the night, go to the refrigerator, and one of the snacks that I gave to the boys that I had in my home preschool
Yes.
was a peanut butter spoon with chocolate chips dipped in it when they woke up
Oh,
from their nap. That was, their first thing that they got before I gave them fruit. And then I would wake up in the night and go eat chocolate chips out of the refrigerator until I didn't even know I was doing it. I would find them like in my shirt, melted on me.
wow. Hmm. I hear you. I
I
hear
went through
you.
that period. Yeah.
And
And
I
we
think
can't,
that
yeah, go
what
ahead.
happens to us, I believe that, and I'm not sure, I haven't really explored, I haven't, so this may not be true, but I believe that what happens to us in nighttime, it's our brain, it's our body saying, I need a little bit more time of you. Our brain is already relaxed from the everyday, and everybody's quiet, and this time, and your brain also knows there's nothing else you could do. You can't call to make that appointment because it's closed. You can't watch your favorite at the so I don't watch TV, but like maybe for other people be like, you can't watch the novela because the show already passed. Like there's so
Right.
less that you could do, and everybody's silent, and you also start thinking, your brain continues to work because it's still in some sort of hyper, it's
Hmm.
still somewhat hyper aroused, but it's more calmer. So we tend to be able to, because it's calmer and there's no noise, we tend to go for those things that we probably don't think about throughout the day because it's so busy.
Right.
Hmm.
Is
Hmm.
is that what? Yeah. Okay.
I hear you.
Cookies, cheese
What
popcorn, potato chips. Oh,
I used to
I have
get
a
up
lot of
and
foods
write.
that,
you used to do
Yeah.
what, sweetie?
I used to get up and write.
right.
I
I did
used to get
too.
up and write.
I
But
wrote
now,
poetry. Hmm.
yes. And I would like to, like, I will write things that I would like to then research and think about. So it would be like
Mm.
journaling, and then I will explore why this is happening, or ways that or like what it's, or like just think, like right now I wrote down this and I want to do more research in other areas. So I write it down, and at
Just have
nighttime
some chocolate chips, babe.
right. But now I'm like, no, no,
Yes.
no, Rice
We got to get
Krispies.
some
Oh my
chocolate
God.
chips on our grocery list and we're going to be all
The
right.
peanut butter. Honey, let's wrap this up. So we are in a really cray-cray time in this country. It's getting
We are
worse.
in the whole world. The whole world
Who's
is.
facing it? Right.
I'm really intrigued with the other countries dealing with the Epstein files. It's really giving me more hope, but it's also
We'll
making
get
me think
fired.
time and time again about this abuse. I don't know. It's a two-edged sword for sure.
Trauma survivors over the decades, over the centuries, have always gotten back to the point where we have to, and I'll speak for myself, I have to decide, how am I going to live my life? Given that there's so much insanity around me, how will I live my life? And I am so grateful that other people are speaking up. I don't listen much to Taylor Swift, but I love that she did this song for Giuffre. I haven't read Giuffre's book. I'm going to read it now.
I'm not.
When people were Jamie Raskin, constitutional attorney. Did you hear him rip into Pam Bondi for all of the lying that she had a cheat sheet in front of her where she could make all these, the law is called ad hominem. She just was attacking the people.
Right.
She just had all this stuff to say. Well, you didn't pass the bar. You didn't do this. What a ridiculous approach. That is not, I mean, she is in the top position for attorneys in this country. She's supposed to be the person who's being our attorney. She should be our attorney. She should be Virginia Giuffre's attorney. I really think it's right when Bondi said, well, we can't have this change because the whole system's going to have to change. Well, guess what?
The whole system needs to
Yes.
change.
The
Yeah.
whole system
And I
changed.
do
bef-
have hope that
Yeah.
that's possible. That it is possible, and
Mhm.
it's going to come to us from other ways, I believe. But it's just so much. Oh,
Yes,
I know,
and
girl.
because you say it so much, I really want for those who are hearing us to know that it is too much, right?
Yes.
Learning how to identify when something is too much and learning how to
right,
identify how to step back or what to do with that heavy.
right.
It's
Don't listen to that
also
article. Right.
it's
Don't.
exactly. Don't look at the article. Don't look at the, and also letting people know I don't want to talk about it. This is
I can't
very
talk
hard
about
on
this right
me,
now. Yeah.
Got a
right?
boundary.
But I
I hear you.
also think part of
Mhm.
healing, it protecting yourself, that's also part of healing, but
Right.
also modeling to others. This is too
Right.
heavy for me, and this is why we need to continue
Mhm.
finding ways, even though that I'm not there yet. But being
Mhm.
okay with not just we can't shut it down. There's people that are hoping and with that,
No.
but I believe that respecting your body, respecting with your feelings, respecting yourself by not listening to it. It's not that you're not. It's not that it's just healing. It's
It
protecting
is.
yourself. Anything that is to protect yourself, you do.
So, my friends, I have another surgery coming up on Friday at 1:30.
Oh
And
no.
past surgery, especially when it involves my femaleness, is freaked me out. But I want to say, in terms of self-care, I have a very dear friend who's going to drive me there in the morning. I
Nice.
have a very dear friend who's going to pick me up at the end of the day. I have spoken with every doctor I need to. All the medication is clear. I've read up everything I can. I'm powerless over what happens. Maybe the surgery works, maybe it doesn't. But in
Is
the
this the same surgery again?
yes, no, it's the next level up of
Right.
intensity. And
Right.
so it's a female issue, and I could get into it at one point, but the bottom line is 60% of us face this, and it's no fun, and it affects the quality of life. So I'm
Right.
choosing this because I want the quality of my life to be as good as it can. When I had heart surgery, I had a choice. Do I live my life with this AFib, this blah, 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 and sometimes I can't breathe, or do I say, all right, I'm going to do
Fix
something
it.
about this. So I'm getting this fixed. And here's the deal. In the midst of all of this insanity, I'm choosing to take care of myself in one of the most difficult ways because it re-traumatizes me
Right.
unless I talk about it. That is, you know what? Maybe this is my way and it doesn't work for other people, but my way of staying sane is to say, I've got complex post-traumatic stress disorder, so don't put anything down my throat when I'm conscious. And when I wake up, don't be pulling anything out of my throat. I'm just leveling with people. And that's why the last time I had this surgery, when I said to the nurses in advance, I've got CPTSD, that means don't tell me to relax. That ain't going to do nothing but piss me off. Rub my shoulders. Boy, were they good. And the doctor was playing Brahms for me. So in the midst of all of the insanity and pain, we can still be highly functioning, not out of insanity, but out of
Right.
the fact that the three of us and every other person who's been through this adversity trauma, what we need to do is to say, we can have rich and full lives according to our own definition, not anybody else's definition. We can have that, and that's a choice that we can make. Viktor Frankl in the prison of Auschwitz said, "The last of the human freedoms is to choose my attitude in any given set of circumstances." He was a trauma survivor horrible things happened. They made his wife have an abortion. Horrible. Then his other wife got put in a different prison camp. Impossible. But he devoted his life to telling the truth. Elie Wiesel devoted his life to telling the truth. All of these people that told the truth, when they get to the end of their lives, they don't discover, as Thoreau said, that they have not lived. And that's my desire. I don't want to come to the end of my life and say, I protected the pedophile.
But do you want to know what also how they die? That how they die, what made them so unique? The love for the community. And then going back to Bad Bunny, something greater than hate, it's love. And we need that. We need that. We need that love. We need that community. We need that support. And we may not be able to change the world, but if we could
But look at
change,
the Catholic Church, sweetie. The Catholic Church, which used to have pedophiles, we got a pope, and with the last pope, we got these cardinals that are saying, "Stop this, stop this." I mean, that's heartening to me. I don't know about you guys, but the part of me that was raised Catholic, I'm like saying, let the Pope speak out. That guy's saying every day, you can't do this, and you can't do it anymore.
and
We're
it's
done.
not biblical. It's not biblical.
That's a whole other thing we can talk about, but there's the whole religious thing that can take us down or it can lift us up. And I am really grateful right now. We've got a Pope from Chicago that's able to say, no,
Yes.
don't keep hurting people. And Bad Bunny, I mean, they're trying to, this is what we were talking about, we need to end, but I don't like that they're trying to do what they always try to do with somebody who's the messenger. They're trying to make Bad Bunny into a bad guy. They're trying to make him into some sort
Not
of evil
working.
sinner. It ain't
Yes.
working, honey.
And that's those are the same barriers that a lot of us find when trying to make some of these conversations, because it's going to require for people to make movement and to open spaces for these healing momentums. And this is why it's important that we do our diligence like Bad Bunny did, make sure we're protected at all times, and we can do what we have to do within the boundaries that we are allowed to, within the law, and be safe. But we are change makers. There's been a great advancement, and it's been thanks to people like us. And I continue to believe that we're going to continue making improvement.
See you ladies next week, okay?
Okay. And I am
Gotta
so
run.
proud of
Thank
both of
you.
you. Hey,
Oceans
people
of love.
listening, join us next week, okay?
Yep.
Yeah.
See you next
Okay,
week.
love you guys both. Thank you so much.
Good luck in your
God bless.
surgery.
Oh, God bless. Just say a prayer.
I will, and you can put me on your favorites. I can show
Thank
up
you,
and
honey.
advocate for you.
I
You'll have your
appreciate it,
Latina
girlfriend.
sister there, like, don't
Honey,
touch her.
I like it. Okay, I like
Yes.
it, girl. I thank you so much. Okay, got it.